The Pit Stop Diner, mile marker 173 on Route 9. A single-story box of faded chrome and grimy windows, surrounded by nothing but pine forests and two flickering sodium vapor lights. The coffee is always burnt, the vinyl stools are cracked, and the only sound after midnight is the hum of the refrigerator and the occasional truck rushing past. For 30 years, night shift workers have reported seeing a lone customer who never speaks, just stares, and who always leaves a single tarnished coin from a country that doesn't exist. Tonight, I'm working the graveyard shift, and the bell above the door just rang. I took this job about 3 months ago. Needed something to pay the bills while I figured out my next move. The pit stop is the kind of place that exists in the gaps of the map, a relic serving tired truckers and the occasional family brave enough to stop after dark. My shift is 10 p.m. to 6 a.m., and I work it alone. The owner, Dave, leaves at 9 and trusts me with the keys. It's not a complicated job. Make coffee, heat up frozen pies, and try not to fall asleep staring at the empty highway. The first few weeks were dead quiet, just like I expected. Then, last month, he started showing up. It's always the same. The bell jingles around 1:15 a.m. The door opens, but I never hear a car pull up. He's just there. A man in a long, dark gray coat, even in the summer heat. His face is pale, almost waxy, and he has this thick, dark hair that looks like it's never been touched by the wind. He never makes eye contact. He just takes the same booth in the far corner, the one where the light is busted, and sits facing the wall. He never orders. I tried, the first time. Walked over with a menu, put on my customer service voice. "Can I get you anything tonight?" He didn't move, didn't turn his head, just sat there perfectly still. I stood there for what felt like a full minute, the hair on my arms standing up, before I just muttered, "Okay, well, let me know," and retreated behind the counter. He stayed for exactly an hour, then got up, walked to the register, and placed a single dark coin on the counter. It was cold, like it had been in a freezer. He left without a word. I picked it up. It was heavier than it should be, stamped with a symbol I didn't recognize, a twisted tree inside a broken circle, and a date, 1723. I told Dave about it the next day. He just grunted and said, "Yeah, that's Walter. He's harmless. Leaves a coin every time. Just take it and don't bother him." I asked who Walter was, where he came from. Dave got this closed-off look and said, "He's been coming here longer than I've owned the place. Just part of the scenery." That should have been a red flag. But a job's a job, right? Walter came back the next week. Same time. Same booth. Same silent, motionless vigil. This time I didn't approach him. I busied myself wiping down the already clean counter, trying not to look at him. But you know how it is. Your eyes are drawn to the strange thing. I'd glance over, and he'd be sitting there, back rigid, hands flat on the table. He never shifted, never scratched an itch, never breathed heavily, just statue still. About halfway through his usual hour, I needed to get more coffee filters from the small storage closet behind the counter. The closet is deep and dark, and the pull-string light is broken, so I used my phone flashlight. As I was rummaging on the shelf, I heard the bell on the front door jingle. My blood went cold. I hadn't heard him get up. I rushed out of the closet, expecting to see an empty diner. He was still there, sitting in his booth. But now, he was facing me. His head was tilted down, so his face was in shadow, but I could feel his gaze. I froze. My phone light pointed at the floor. He'd moved without making a sound. The door hadn't opened. The bell had rung for no reason. I slowly backed toward the phone, ready to call. Who? The police? And say what? A quiet customer is sitting in my diner? Before I could reach it, he moved again. Not a normal movement. It was a sudden, jerky turn of his head, like a machine resetting to look back at the wall. The moment broke. I let out a breath I didn't know I was holding. When his hour was up, he left another coin. This one was dated 1698. Last night was the worst. It was raining, a hard, relentless pour that blurred the windows and made the diner feel like a ship lost at sea. 1:15 a.m. came and went. No Walter. I felt a weird mix of relief and dread. Maybe he was done. Maybe the routine was broken. I turned on the small radio behind the counter for some noise, other than the rain. At 2 a.m., the power went out. Everything went black and silent, except for the pounding rain. The hum of the coolers died. The neon open sign flickered off. I was plunged into a thick, wet darkness. I fumbled for my phone, my hand shaking, and turned on the flashlight. The beam cut a shaky path through the diner, illuminating empty booths and gleaming chrome. Then I saw him. He was in his booth. He must have come in during the split second of darkness when the power died. He was sitting there, facing me, his pale face now fully visible in my phone's beam. His eyes were open wide, but they were wrong. Too dark. No reflection. It was a stretch of the lips that showed too many teeth, all perfectly even and bone white. I stumbled back, my hip hitting the counter. He didn't move. He just sat there smiling that awful smile in the spotlight of my fear. I had to get out. I couldn't stay in the dark with him. I inched along the counter toward the front door, keeping the light on him. His head turned slowly, mechanically, tracking my progress. My hand found the door handle. I yanked it, but it was locked. Of course it was. I'd locked it after the last trucker left. My keys were on the counter right next to the register, right between me and him. I swallowed hard, made a decision. I sprinted. 3 frantic steps, grabbed the keys, and sprinted back. I didn't look at him. I couldn't. I fumbled with the key, my vision swimming. Finally got it in and threw the door open. I ran out into the torrential rain, not stopping until I was by my car, fumbling to unlock it. I risked one look back at the diner. Through the rain-streaked window, I could see the weak beam of my phone, still lying on the floor where I'd dropped it. It was shining on an empty booth. Walter was gone. But the light caught something else. Propped on the table of his booth was a single fresh coin, and next to it, resting on the vinyl seat, was a long gray coat, neatly folded. I didn't go back in. I called Dave from my car, hysterical, telling him the power was out and I'd left my phone. He said he'd come check. I waited until I saw his headlights pull in 20 minutes later, before I even dared to move. Dave found my phone. The coat was gone, but the coin was still there. He handed it to me this morning, his face grim. "Told you he was harmless," he said, but his eyes didn't believe it. The coin was ice cold. This one wasn't tarnished. It was shiny and new. The symbol was the same, the twisted tree. The date was this year. I quit on the spot. Dave didn't argue. As I was leaving, though, something made me ask, "Dave, what does he want? Why does he come?" Dave looked older than I'd ever seen him. He stared out at the empty highway. He's not waiting for service. He's waiting for someone to be alone. Really, truly alone. And he's checking to see if they're suitable. He wouldn't explain what that meant. He just told me to keep the coin, and to never ever work a night shift alone again. I have the coin on my desk now. Sometimes in the dead of night, I pick it up. It's always cold, and I can't shake the feeling that our interaction changed something. That by seeing his smile, by running, I became interesting. The pit stop is 60 miles away, but what's 60 miles to something that doesn't need a car? Something that can appear in a moment of darkness? I keep my lights on all night now, and I listen for a sound that doesn't belong. Because the worst part wasn't the smile, or the impossible movements. It was the realization as I sat dripping in my car, that when I'd grabbed my keys from the counter, I'd had to pass close to his booth, and in that flash of my light, I'd seen his hands, still flat on the table. His fingers were too long. And the tips of them, they weren't fingernails. They were dark, curved, and sharp, like claws. He wasn't leaving coins as payment. He was leaving them as markers. And now he's left one for me. See you in the next episode. Don't forget to subscribe.